Seriously, those guys should put out some new music.
Turn that off.
For God's
I think
sake.
May 4th, I think, guys. May 4th is when the new Mumford & Sons album comes out. It is called Wilder Mind. Hey, speaking of Mumford & Sons, ladies and gentlemen, Marcus and Ben from the band joining us in studio right now on the Cabinet Beach. How are you guys?
All right. Good morning.
Morning to you. So you were telling us in the moment that we had before you sat down, we got on the radio here, that you'd never been at the Roxy before until you played there last night.
Yeah, last night was the first
That's
time.
a little bit of legendary Los Angeles real estate right there, the Roxy.
I know. It was very exciting. We had to make an album to find an excuse to go there. But it was worth it. It's it's a wicked room. And
now, I'm always surprised when a band like you does that, where the word comes out, hey, surprise show, Mumford & Sons, who could play any arena anywhere in the world that they wanted, are going to work just as hard for virtually no money at an audience of 300. Like, why? What's the draw for y'all to be at a place like the Roxy?
We're losing a lot of money on it.
Like, what do you get out of a show like last night and tonight?
It was a good opportunity to practice in front of people. It puts the pressure on a bit. We can kind of play behind closed doors as much as we like, but until you go out and you can actually not make a mistake, because otherwise you're kind of ruining the song. It changes the game a little bit.
What's the difference between playing the stage at Coachella with all that room and all those people?
Well,
and
the difference is
tiny.
I mean, there's obviously like thousands of differences, but the difference for us at the moment is that we've never released music that we haven't played live before. So all the songs on the first two albums, we'd practiced and gigged in. They were road ready and stuff.
Right.
And then we went into the studio and recorded them as we did them live.
Oh,
whereas these songs, no one's ever heard them. And we've never played them live. So before we go out and do a big summer run, we wanted to just gig these songs in. And it's quite a challenge for the audiences, even though it's only a couple hundred people, because they've never heard any of these songs other than the one you just played.
Right.
So it's hard work. And we get quite interesting reactions, even from our friends and people we work with. Like last night, our agent came in and he was like, "How are you feeling?" I was like, "Yeah, all right, yeah. How are you doing?" He was like, "Scared." that was our whole interaction.
That's not what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want that from him.
People were like, "It's going to be so great when you know how to play the songs."
Now, can you see everyone in the room? Can you see in the back?
Yeah, you can see everyone.
Do you?
You can see everyone. The nice thing is we ask people to leave their phones behind so that these songs don't live on YouTube before they live on.
Right.
The way they're
because that's a real concern for people anytime they play new music before it's been officially released.
Exactly, but the bonus for us is that people are looking up.
Yeah,
you can play a room like that to a couple of hundred people, and you're just looking at the sort of crown of people's heads as they stare down at a light.
But when somebody has a cell phone and they're recording your music, that is the best way to get it out, right? Because it sounds
sounds good.
really
it's never
good.
shaky.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Back tonight, by the way, at the Roxy. Tickets are going on sale at 9 o'clock this morning through Ticketfly. I didn't see yesterday. Was there a healthy aftermarket, Kevin? Were people scalping them and stuff, or did they?
I
did
didn't
they manage
see
to
that
avoid
either.
that? Because I would imagine for hardcore Mumford & Sons fans, it must drive them crazy to know you're
I know
at the
that's
Roxy.
the only bad thing. You do piss quite a lot of people off by doing this.
Yeah,
well, that's what you want to do as an entertainer.
Bitter.
Yeah, that's
Twitter
what you
was
want to
bitter
do.
yesterday.
But I think we're obviously going to come back and play bigger shows. So this is just sort of, it's more for it's quite a selfish endeavour.
This is really just practice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like open rehearsals, isn't it? And we've noticed that the crowds that come, or the people that find themselves there, however they get there, because of the internet, I think they're sort of like the really sort of maternal fans. Like even though. Like our tour manager walked past these two 16-year-old girls at these shows we did in London, who were walking they were, I don't know, they were like toddlers when the first album came out, and they were walking along being like, "I just saw Ted. He looks really tired. I'm really worried about him." So it's quite a nice, supportive, quite a warm.
They want
crowd.
you to do well because they already like your previous
Yeah,
stuff.
we're playing to the home team. The home
Now,
crowd,
Mumford & Sons seems to me like a group that hit the ground running and has really taken very little time off. I mean, it seems like album tour. Am I wrong about that, or have you had a chance to kind of enjoy it and live a little bit as well along the way?
Yeah, well, we actually took a few months out. At the end of the last touring cycle, we took what we thought was going to be longer, but it ended up being a few months, and then we got on the phone with each other and said, let's let's start playing some music again.
Why did you just get restless? Like
I think
I got withdrawal symptoms.
you do.
Yeah, well, we spent so much time together that suddenly, like, you're bereft of each other's company, and even though you don't really like it that much, you're like, this feels very strange. We should hang out.
And months can feel like years.
And what do each of you do with your time off?
Well, Ben's got this amazing record label called Communion that he's been smashing out in New York, and Winston's been growing his hair, which takes a lot of effort.
Growing hair, okay.
It's tough work, yeah.
Ted's been suddenly like the least businessman of all of us.
Right.
Suddenly is managing like 3 artists or something.
And you're in the UFC because you got hurt your foot.
Yeah, that's
So that's
I'm wrecking.
you're
people.
you're fighting people. So that's good.
And I've produced a couple of things for other people. So it's we've all been kind of busy and kept ourselves.
Are you
busy
able
and
to
stuff.
sort of go Mumford and Sons? I'm not going to think about now and consider and whatever. Are you able to just kind of block that out, or do you always?
It's quite
constantly-
all-encompassing.
Yeah.
I'd say it's always sort of in the back of your mind, and also you've always got to prioritize it, right? So we can't just go and moonlight for other people and then sort of treat Mumford and Sons as a secondary career, especially because we want to do it well and we want to do it for a long time. So, yeah, it's a
Are
priority.
you guys, this is the voice of Marcus Mumford and Ben Lovett. We're talking about the band Mumford and Sons, new record coming out on May 4th that we'll be talking about as well. Nobody gets into a band like Mumford and Sons and expects to rule the world. When you started playing the kind of music you chose to play, you couldn't have foreseen Album of the Year Grammys and Saturday Night Live and all the other stuff that has kind of come your way.
All in the plan, baby?
I doubt it. Is it still? Do you guys still kind of pinch yourself that your band is as popular as it is?
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Actually, taking a bit of time away from it all has been very healthy. You forget that stuff exists because it doesn't that's not really the lasting. Those aren't the lasting victories, like those awards or surreal moments that we've had aren't the things that you take away. You take away kind of the output and maybe the physical and the personal change around your life, and that stuff's actually all been quite positive. So yeah, it's not really about that stuff that we chase. We don't feel like we've made victories and we've hit some sort of precipice of success, and definitely don't feel like we rule the world by any means.
Are you exhausted from touring now? Because you've played a couple of shows.
Yeah, but yeah, we're back on the road.
It's been such a long week and a half for you guys.
Yeah, we're gigged. We're burned out, man. We need a break.
All right, let's take a break. Mumford and Sons, again, at the Roxy tonight, ticketfly.com if you want to buy tickets starting at 9 o'clock this morning, so about 29 minutes from right now. More with the guys right after this on KROQ. Marcus Mumford, Ben Lovett, in studio with us here on the Kevin and Bean Show from the Grammy-winning artists known as Mumford and Sons. Between all of you guys, everybody's a multi-instrumentalist in your band. How many instruments does Mumford and Sons actually play?
Well, I mean, I think there's two questions there. How many do we know how to play, and how many do we blag? We
Blag?
Yeah, we blag quite a lot. I can play 3 chords on quite a lot of instruments,
I see, okay.
but I can't play 4 on pretty much any of them.
Not a lot of bands, though, have, of course, we think banjo, but accordions and dobros and, the acoustic and electric versions of all these instruments. I mean, you're
Basically, you can
quite
tune them.
accomplished.
You can tune them so they're all basically the same, and then they just look different and sound a bit
Nice.
A
different.
lot of attention about the lack of banjos.
There's a lot on that, yeah.
Seems to be the lead about this entire thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people like to hang sort of all on something, and that became the most important thing that people wants to talk about. It's like, to us, it was an instrument that we were using as a tool to make songs, and we're continuing to make songs just with different tools.
Did you make a conscious effort, a decision to say we're not going to use this or this or this? We're going to use a real drum.
Not really. I think actually it was more of a conscious decision to say there aren't any rules, so we don't have to use this or this or this. And out of that, naturally, we just kind of dropped the acoustic instruments a bit for now. We're still going to play those songs live, and we'll probably come back to that instrumentation in some way. But we felt like, for us, the 4 of us, we pretty thoroughly explored what we wanted to do at the time with those instruments. Like, there's no double bass on this new record, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So and I actually, like, I'm a drummer first and foremost, and Ben's a piano player. Winnie grew up playing like heavy metal guitar, and Ted's the best guitarist out of all of us. So this is a bit more close. We're a bit closer to our sort of natural instrumentation. So in a way, like, this is where we came from. Like playing heavy drums and guitars and stuff. So we picked up those acoustic instruments for a while and had a good time with them.
We just played Believe. Is the rest of the album, is that representative of what
It's not
selling?
really.
Not
no,
really.
I mean, I don't think you could put out any one song from an album and feel like it's representative, really.
The rest is
it doesn't
synth
tell.
pop.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm in.
That would be awesome. But no, so it's not really. I think there's definitely like more spacious, quieter moments, and then there's more rocking moments.
Are you the kind of band that writes 60 songs and then narrows it down to 12, or do you write 12?
We didn't finish 60. We definitely wrote a lot of ideas because on this record we had this kind of overarching, I wouldn't say rule, but like impetus to each chase each other's ideas. So someone would come to like the studio with a melody or a lyric or just something, a beginning, and then we would follow that for the day and record it as we went. And so there's like a file somewhere with a ton of really bad song ideas that
one of you has to bring in bad ideas. Who is it? Who brings in, like, you go, you know what? There's no bad ideas except for this one.
No, it's not.
that's really against the spirit of what I was just thinking.
I understand that, but
let's name him and shame him anyway. It's Winston. All right, it's definitely Win.
Yeah, you always pick a guy who's not here at the interview. Absolutely.
But he also comes in with the breakthrough idea that makes you change the way you see the album. So he wrote the first song that we demoed at the end of like August in 2013, was it?
It was, yeah.
And he wrote that song, and that was like the gateway drug to the rest of the album. And actually, it didn't make it on the album because we wrote a bunch of other songs that.
Well, because it was a bad idea.
Yeah, right. But at the time, it was like very garage rock and exciting, and got us to the place where we were like, okay, that's a good start. Let's start writing these other songs. And then we wrote the other songs and looked back, and that song felt like a really old song. It didn't feel as current to us to put on the record. So we still got it up our sleeves.
Do you have the
Or maybe
minds-
we'll sell it to Miley Cyrus. She's listening.
Do you have the mindset of this needs to fit into the Mumford and Sons category, or do you care
No,
about
it's
that
more
at
like
all?
this needs to fit onto the record. So we make a record, try and make it start to finish, and for it to be cohesive or coherent and make sense as a record, which is why picking a single from it is quite a hard thing to do because we made it.
Why Believe? And I'm sure that was the toughest decision, is which song's coming first.
It's not really our main priority what leads out, because we feel like we made an album, and there are people who say this would be a good song to go and play to people, but our intention is to go and play all the songs for people to hear all the songs. We'll be there'll be a couple of songs hopefully that we'll be showing people as like a way to get to know the new record, but it's not like Believe isn't a statement that says like this is the album to us.
Gotcha.
It was just like an invite to listen to more.
And
The album's
anything we put out was going to be a bit jarring. Do you know what I mean? Because none of them have acoustic instruments on them. So
Right.
yeah.
Sure. Wilder Mind is the record. It's coming out everywhere on May 4th. Of course, you've been hearing Believe a lot here on KROQ. Let's talk about the Gentlemen of the Road stopovers. Now, this is an unusual touring idea where you only go to places where the majority of people there have to drive tremendous distances to see you.
Well, unless you live in Walla Walla, Washington.
Right. If you're one of the 35 people who lives in Walla Walla, Washington, you're in business. But what's really going to happen is people from Seattle, people from Denver, people from Vancouver are going to have to road trip to see you. Tell me how this came together across
It's
this
like a
great land of ours.
destination. It's like a holiday. We all go on holiday together, basically, for a gig and watch the Foo Fighters play. Oh, That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? We'd done a few festivals, including a couple in America, one in Australia, one in Scotland, and they were all sort of small festivals. Some of them were traveling festivals, so they played different shows in different towns, weekend after weekend with the same lineup. So you'd get a sort of companionship with the other bands that were playing, and you'd watch the same bands every week. And a lot of those festivals also really embraced the small towns that they were in, and the town was as much a part of the festival as the lineup was. And we love that, and we love going to places that are a bit off the grid and doing things that are a bit different. And so we thought, why don't we just do our own festival? So we started pretty small, and it was pretty rough to start with. And now we've got to the point where, the Foo Fighters and the Alabama Shakes and Flaming Lips and Maccabees and Vaccines and My Morning Jacket are all saying yes to come play with us, which is like, as a music fan, which is basically what we are, if you get to set up your own festival and pick your favourite bands to come play with you, and then they say yes, and then you get to be there for the weekend and watch them and play with them.
You've won.
Yeah,
Like,
You've
it's
won.
great.
You've
won.
Like, as a music fan, that's the dream. Like, so we're just thrilled because it's, because we just love watching bands play.
I get the idea that a lot of people that play on these multi-act bills, they come in, they do the thing, they leave, and they don't really sit around and enjoy the music of other people.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, we definitely encourage like a slightly different configuration and hang backstage, and there's continuity from the lineups year to year. So people who have done a Gentleman of the Road stopover before come and kind of like are more inviting and like share kind of war stories and roads, whatever from what we've been up to as we travel around. And there's a nice sense, I think, for us when we go to any festival. It's nice just to check in. Sometimes that's the only time you see other bands, and like the summers become your marking points. And it's like, what's going on with your kids, what's going on with your like that random side project you're doing, and whatever it might be. And it's nice to. Festivals are great for that, but we try with the Gentleman of the Road stuff to take it up a gear.
Would you ever get into a giant plastic ball and go out across the audience like Wayne from Flaming Lips?
They actually learned that from us.
They
so.
did.
Okay,
They
all right. Because that
Yeah.
does seem awfully terrifying to me.
The main reason I respect that band so much is that they like blow confetti over the audience in their first song. They're like,
Just get it
we
out
are
of the way.
doing this. And
Save
then
it for the encore.
you've got to stay up the whole way.
I wonder
So
what we'd
we're
like to
excited.
make out with Wayne Coyne for that very reason.
To make out with him.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, you
I'm
got
sorry,
a whole
what?
you got a whole summer to work on that.
Wait, what
nice
did
to have a
you-
dream.
Wait, what did you say make out with?
Did he say he likes to make out with?
Did I say that out loud?
I think you did.
Can we just
That's
explain that there's a machine sitting in front of Ben that is like, it's like a drum machine and it has titles.
It
and
does
it's-
Oh, I don't
sound
know that we
effects.
need to talk
It's
about
all
that,
sound
Marcus.
effects.
Yeah, I don't think we
And
need
in
to
the
talk-
break,
we can't-
Ben goes, "What does this one do?"
I
And
don't
it
think
says,
that
what does
story
it say?
needs to be told on
It
the air,
says
though.
"Gay Run" on it.
I don't think we need to talk about that on the
He
No,
air.
presses play, and it's
that was
the
private.
most
That was private time.
offensive
That was
British
private time.
terms for a homosexual that
Maybe
you
that
can
was
imagine.
it. Maybe that was
But not
influence.
so bad for America.
Yeah, exactly. None of it's offensive to you. I was sat here going, "Oh my god!"
I just love that. That's all Ben's been thinking about since we've been sitting here talking about the tour. Well, I hope you get the chance to make out with Wayne from the Flaming Lips. I hope your dream comes true this summer on the tour. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Same.
Before you go, because we're almost out of time here, the Gentlemen of the Road stopovers are in places like Seaside Heights, New Jersey, Waverly, Iowa, Walla Walla, Washington, and a town called Salida that I'm unfamiliar with in Colorado. What
Salida.
are the Salida? Sorry.
Like saliva with a D.
Beyond those appearances, what other Mumford touring plans do you have for 2015?
We have a few. Yeah, we're gonna, probably play some shows between those shows, and all of that's gonna come. I think our plan is to just go out and do what we know and love, and the reason why we got into this band, which was to go and
To Kiss Man.
kiss men.
Certain men.
Yeah, and so we're going to go and do a lot of that. And no, it's like the really fun bit. We've been kind of cooped up in the studio for a few months, and it has been fun. It's been like kind of almost kind of selfish fun because we've been in like playing music with each other, but now it's time to go and share that, and that's a whole different experience.
Oh, it's got to be exciting to have a bunch of new songs that you
It
want
is.
to play for people.
It is. And to play with the old stuff as well. Like we fully plan to play like all three records and covers
It's just,
and whatever.
yeah, it's just fun being able to get to the stage where live you've got 3 albums worth to draw on. Like,
Sure.
we saw like some of the My Morning Jacket guys last night, and they did this festival in Mexico, kind of a similar vibe to what we're trying to do, but I think way better. And Taylor from Doors was there as well. And he was saying they played for like almost 3.5 hours, 2 nights back to back. And I was like, well, they've got enough albums to do that. If they want to, they can. And if they have the stamina, they can.
Right. I
And
went to
like-
see Sam Smith and he played 9 songs. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy really needs another album.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like,
Seriously.
when we were touring the first album, we couldn't help but play new songs along with it, right? Which is why they were all like listenable to before we released Babel. So we just wanted to fill up the whole time, and people were kind of patient and listened to them and got used to them a bit. But yeah, having 3 albums to draw from is the dream, like, and hopefully just get more and more and more.
Last question, and I saved this for the end because it may be controversial, and I don't want you guys to get mad, but I have to ask, and that's, are you going to address Zayn leaving the band, or are you just going to kind of pretend he was never even in the group? I mean, how are you going to handle that on stage?
I'm going to have to get my tattoos all changed. It is a nightmare. Maybe it'll go Wayne instead of Zane.
Marcus Mumford and Ben Lovett. The band is Mumford and Sons. The album is called Wilder Mind, due everywhere May 4th. Great to see you guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.